Hello and welcome to InfraGauge. Today we're going to show you how to effectively use the InfraGauge app to gauge tanks. What we have here is an actual screen recording of me gauging a tank out on location. The first thing we're going to do is we're going to enter in the tank size that we're about to gauge. So this is a 400 barrel tank that I'm about to gauge. There's a pull down menu right here for other common size tanks out in the oil and gas industry. If you got something else or you want super duper accurate, you can enter a manual tank size right here. You can even plug in your barrels per inch if you don't know your diameter. The next thing we're going to do is we're going to plug in our FLIR 1 Pro infrared camera into our phone and turn it on before we start all of this. That way it gives the camera time to load up. We're going to make sure that we have the entire tank in the finder or the viewfinder of when we take the photo. We're going to make sure we can see all four of the tank corners because we're going to have to define those later when we go to gauge the tank. Next step, there's 4 bubbles right here. You can see that they go to automatic zoom as soon as you put your finger on them. We're going to line those 4 corners up to their corresponding corners of the tank image. You can also see that there's a green dot right here. That represents the center of the crosshairs. We want to place that green dot right on the corner of the tank, meaning you can see where this line goes straight up and starts to curve. We're going to place it right there. You can also see that there's a halo right here. We want to ignore that as much as possible. The more you get it on the actual tank edge, the better it's going to be. And we're going to do that for all 4 tank corners. Now as we go along, you can see that there's some more of these lines right here. These lines are just there to help you make sure that they're right on top of the tank edge, as you can see right here. Kind of follows the tank edge. You can also eye up your crosshairs with these lines right here and make sure that they're roughly corresponding to the tank edge as well. That'll just help you make sure that you got confirmation that you put it on the right spot and that you're right on the tank corner. The next thing we're going to do is we're going to move our level line right down to where we see the color difference. That obviously represents the height of the liquid in the tank. Now, on some tanks that have a very, very low level in them, you're going to see kind of a smiley face at the bottom. That makes it hard to put a straight line on when you go to determine the level. Conversely, if you have a very, very full tank, it'll look almost like a frowny face. For these reasons, in our algorithm, we've just included what's on the right side of the tank. So move the level line and just look to the right side of the tank the best you can when you go to move the level line to determine the level. This level turned out to be 7 foot 6.25 inches on InfraGauge. It was manually gauged at 7 foot 4.25 inches. You can also note that we have another screen right here on the next view, and it shows our input values that were used for the calculation to determine the level of the tank. Down here is kind of a results view. You got your height, your percentage full, number of barrels, and number of gallons. You also have an option up here to use so that you can email this image of your results to whoever you want. That's about it for using the InfraGauge app and determining levels in the tank. You can see down here it took me roughly 25 seconds to gauge this tank. If you've got any questions, please feel free to reach out to us at infragauge.com. We'd be happy to answer any questions or get user feedback on what we could do better. Thank you for your time and happy gauging.